Hi friends, it's Deanna Williston with our Blooming Catholic Life, and I'm here today with an odd little book review, right? The Exorcist Files. It is interviews by Joy L. Cuadrante, edited by Father José Francisco Syquia, who is the chief exorcist of the Philippines. And the foreword is by the Most Reverend Marvin A. Maceda, D.D., and it is by St. Paul's Press. I believe you can purchase this from Women of Grace. You may find it other places as well. The back of the book says, "The devil is very real. He and his demons continue to try and separate us from God by leading us to sin and tormenting us in different ways until we reach a state of despair and hopelessness. Jesus Christ has already triumphed over Satan and redeemed us for himself through his passion, death, and resurrection. The devil is no match to God's love, mercy, and compassion. But because of God's respect for our free will, overcoming this ancient enemy requires our full cooperation. The Exorcist Files gives us first-hand, behind-the-scenes accounts of Christ's victory over the devil straight from the frontliners, the exorcists, in this ongoing spiritual battle. Fortunately, this is a war where we already know the ending. Jesus wins. This book will remind us of which side we want to be on. Joy Lazo Cuadrante has been a member of the Archdiocese of Manila Office of Exorcism since 2013 and is one of the organizers of the Philippine Annual Conference on Spiritual Liberation and Exorcism under the Philippine Association of Catholic Exorcists, PACE, since its inception in 2016. Her number one priority, though, is being a devoted wife to Albert and a mother to her two boys, Marco and Jamie. During her spare time, Joy enjoys reading, trying out new restaurants, and hanging out with her dog. We could be friends. Okay, not the trying out new restaurants. That scares me to pieces, right? It's a small book. It's not thick like some of our other ones that Women of Grace carry. Pretty thin there. Oh, these look to be, are these the tools of the trade? Perhaps. Let's get in here. Dun, dun, dun. It is copyrighted 2020 by St. Paul's, which is located in the Philippines, but you can find them at www.stpauls, with an S on the end, .ph. Says it's an apostle of the priests and brothers of the Society of St. Paul who proclaim the gospel through the media of social communication. And she lovingly dedicates this book to Mama Mary, St. Joseph, and St. Teresa of Avila, my family in heaven. One soul, one eternity, St. Teresa of Avila. This table of contents set up. Here, I will show you. Isn't it lovely? Beautiful table of contents. Definitely easy to read. Probably easier if I held the page flat. Sorry. Definitely easy to read there. There's a dedication, a foreword, a message from the editor, acknowledgments right in the beginning, then the introduction, and then it goes through the interviews. It tells you the name of the priest and which diocese he is with. There's one more on the back, so there are 9 of those interviews. Then there's something called the Exorcist profile. There are photos and prayers. Oh, that's very thorough. I love that. Here is, I believe, an image of Father Syquia. I have met him. He is lovely. For our struggle is not with... Okay, I say he's lovely. He's cool. He is a cool customer. And you need to be an exorcist, which would make sense if you met an exorcist. But if not, we'll just go ahead and read. For our struggle is not with flesh and blood, but with the principalities, with powers and the world rulers of this present darkness, with the evil spirits in the heavens. Ephesians 6:12. These words of Paul to the Ephesians remind us of the reality of the spiritual nature of the battle we wage every day against the forces of the evil one. What we experience in this world pales in comparison with the magnitude and extent of the spiritual battle that rages around us. Spiritual warfare is as real as breathing, walking, and eating. The tragedy, though, is that many people in this present generation have started disbelieving in the presence of evil forces and therefore are easy prey to their malevolence. This book is one work that truly affirms and confirms the presence of evil and the vileness of its work. The experiences of our exorcists in doing battle with the evil one cannot be denied and cannot be relegated to mere gymnastics and wild imaginations. I am going to let you finish reading that. Oh, no, that was not Father Syquia. I wondered. This is Marvin A. Maceda, D.D., the Bishop of San Jose de Antique. Oh, Father Syquia edited it, but the foreword is by the bishop. Okay, that makes way more sense. He is the Bishop of San Jose de Antique, and he's the former chief exorcist of the Diocese of Naval. Okay. Message from the editor. Here we go. For today's modern secularized society, one of the greatest diabolical illusions is the belief that man is the only one dictating the events in today's world. Oh, goodness. This is going to air on August 7th, but on August 18th, we're going to be talking about Americanism and reading Pope Leo XIII's encyclical. Was it an encyclical or an apostolic letter? We don't know. But we'll be talking about Testem Benevolentiae Nostrae. We're going to be talking about this document, and right here, they're speaking to it right now, part of the danger of it. Goodness, the whole house just shook for a second. Let's see. So one of the greatest diabolical illusions is the belief that man is the only one dictating the events in today's world. There's a preternatural power in the air around us that negatively affects not only individual lives, but world events as well. And it is getting stronger as modern man loses faith and consequent protection from God, our loving and merciful Father. All one has to do is take stock at the present state, not only of world affairs, but also the state of individual families. The spiritual war that St. Paul speaks about is becoming more and more tangible and damaging to souls and society. Our merciful Father, through the Church, has now begun speaking more openly and boldly regarding this most ancient and destructive of foes, the devil. As St. John Paul II stated during his homily on May 24, 1987, at the sanctuary of St. Michael in Mount Gargano, the devil is still alive and he is operating within the world. And he adds, Christians are called to be on their guard against the deceptions of the devil and his numerous followers. Although we would rather talk about more pleasant things, let us remember that we on this earth are still in the midst of a journey towards our true home, and this sojourn necessarily involves spiritual warfare. That is why we are called the Church Militant. And Pope Leo XIII boldly wrote, Christians are born for combat. The message from the editor continues on for, a few more pages. I was kind of surprised. Then there are acknowledgments here. Father Syquia was actually her spiritual director, not just the editor of the book. Very nice. A few other things in here. Oh, goodness. Now there's an introduction. There's a lot. I think they're trying to really... I think the danger of this book is people see, the title, The Exorcist Files and things, and this could be a little sensational, and so they're kind of trying to ground you a little bit before you get into the stories. So it says, this idea of a compilation of interviews is a result of several years of being a lay team member of the Archdiocese of Manila Offices of Exorcism. As a case officer, I noticed there are cases who were suffering from extraordinary forms of demonic harassment, whether it was possession, oppression, or infestation, would always end up asking the same questions. Am I the only one going through this? Are there others like me? What did they do? How did they handle it? I observed that for the suffering, it helped to know and learn from the stories of other cases that have had similar experiences and how these individuals struggled and persevered until they received the gift of liberation. Other people's stories gave them additional strength and courage to continue on the road to healing. That makes complete sense. It's just one page, not even front and back. It's like 1.5 pages, so not a huge interview. Let's kind of see how they're marked. Pretty easy to tell when there's a new one. It's marked pretty boldly, easy to read. It says A. What is that A there for? Is there going to be a B? Oh, there is. Are they all divided up like that? I'm curious. Yes, they are. So they all have these markings, like an outline format. It's going to be like A, B, C, D marked. So we know the different parts. So I'm wondering if they don't correspond. This one is First Encounter in Spirit of the Glass. My first memorable case happened when I was a parish priest. Oh, the interview with Father Eugene. He is an exorcist with the Archdiocese of Manila. My first memorable case happened when I was a parish priest in Makati City. I was not yet an exorcist then. It was around midnight and I had already fallen asleep, but I got up to recheck the lights in the church. I was walking around the church when I heard something knocking on the gates of the parish. I went down immediately, thinking it might be an emergency sick call. When I opened the gates, I was surprised to see one of the teachers from the nearby private school where I regularly celebrate Mass. She was with 4 other friends, 1 female and 3 males. This teacher told me that a female friend in their group had gotten possessed. At first, I did not want to believe her, thinking that whatever was bothering her friend was probably of a psychological nature. In addition, I did not know yet then what signs and manifestations to look for if it were indeed a case of demonic possession. Interestingly, at that time I was reading the book of Father Syquia entitled Exorcism, Encounters with the Paranormal and the Occult. I asked them to narrate how their female friend had reached that extraordinary state since she looked lifeless, like a zombie. Her eyes could not focus and kept rolling in a circular motion. She looked like she was not in the right frame of mind. I learned that their group of friends had gone to, I'm going to apologize again, Tagaytay for an overnight getaway. After dinner, out of curiosity, they decided to play the Spirit of the Glass. They noticed that the girls suddenly looked weird while they were playing, and because of this, they decided to stop the game. Around 10 p.m., when they were about to sleep, the girl started to threaten the group that she was going to kill them. Concerned and frightened, they hurriedly left that city and went back to Manila. After hearing their story and their involvement in the Spirit of the Glass, I believe that this was a case of demonic harassment. I proceeded to lead them to the church, but the girl refused to enter. Her friends and I tried to bring her inside the church, but she resisted. Despite her small body frame, we could not physically bring this petite girl inside. She exhibited extraordinary strength. Dun, dun, dun. You want to keep reading it? Admit you do. You want to know how this story goes. I could not read these right before bedtime, I'm sure. They're probably a little dangerous for me even to read. So let's look at the features at the back of the book. The profiles of the exorcists are just small paragraphs, easy to see where they are. Oh yeah, the page numbers, are always in the outside corners. It says the name of the book and tells you which interview you're on here on the right. It doesn't tell you the subheadings, just which exorcist they're talking to. Exorcist profiles. Believe they're, yes, no, I was going to say they're alphabetical, but I don't think they are, so maybe they're in the order they were in the book. And then it does have some black and white photographs. They're not photographs of demons, or are they? You'll have to get the book and find out. Lots of great photos in here. And then there are prayers in the back, like a prayer to St. Joseph, a daily prayer to St. Joseph, terror of demons. Ooh, that one's pretty nice. My beloved St. Joseph, adopt me as your child. Take charge of my salvation. Watch over me night and day. Preserve me from the occasion of sin. Yeah, I'm going to leave it to you. Then there's a prayer to St. Joseph for protection. Consecration to the Blessed Virgin Mary for closing of the occult third eye. Sub tuum praesidium. Prayer for spiritual canopy. Prayer for freedom from curses and for protection. Active consecration to St. Michael. And then it has a blessing of a cincture, which is for the priest's use. It is from the Roman ritual, approved by the Congregation of Sacred Rites, September 19th, 1859, and that is a whole prayer service for them. There's also the same solemn blessing of St. Joseph's medallion. It's for a priest's use, and it has that ceremony in here. So I'll show you briefly what that looks like in one of the photos. Okay, friends, that's it for today. May God bless you and keep you. May He make His face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may the good Lord bless you. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.